Hey, this is Joel and welcome back to the Traveler Toolkit. And in today's video, we're gonna be installing this brand new Fogatti InstaCool Ultra 16,000 BTU AC with heat pump into our Ember RV. We're gonna be removing the old unit, bringing it down, putting this in its place. We've got the interior unit here and the exterior unit here. It's gonna be a lot of fun. This is actually the first time I've ever done anything like this, but I hope to prove to you that with basic mechanical knowledge, this is something that almost anybody could do. So let's go. All right, so our first step is to remove this cover from the old AC unit. I've got 4 screws, 2 on each side, holding it on. Then we can get access to the wiring and the bracketry up here. Please don't fall on my head. It should just come down, I guess. Maybe it's adhesive to the ceiling. Okay, there are more hidden screws here that I could not see, so looks like 8 screws in total. There we go. Gotta pop these buttons off. There we go. Okay, now with the cover plate off, we can get to our wiring, and it looks like we've just got 4 long bolts here that are holding this bottom plate in place. Take those out, we can take the wiring down, and then we can go up on the roof and lift the old condenser off of the roof. Okay, that is disconnected. Now we're just gonna take this off, it looks like, and disconnect the total power. And I've already turned our breaker off, but I want to test these wires with this just to make sure there is no current. Looks like we are in good shape. Nice. Okay, so we've got the old cover here and the old power unit. Those are off the ceiling. Now we're ready to take the old condenser off the top. I don't think it'll cause me any trouble, honestly. Yeah, it's already, oh my gosh, there's leaves and everything underneath this. This doesn't weigh enough to even worry me. Now we're just gonna clean up this area before we put the new AC unit down. Okay, so we've got the old unit here on this pallet. We used this pallet and the straps along with my electric garage hoist here to get it down. There it is. And if you don't have something like this, you're gonna need to rig up a pulley system or get a friend to help you get this off with a couple of ladders, because they're heavy enough that you're not going to be able to manhandle it down a ladder unless you have a higher risk tolerance than me. This is our new unit here. You can get a good look at it. Again, this is the InstaCool Ultra. And once we get this on the roof, all we have to do is place this underneath. This adhesive backing will come off. This will be placed over the area where the air is going to come out, and this will be compressed like that as we tighten the bolts on the inside bracket. This section is just going to go on the back in a similar way to kind of balance it out, but this is what's going upstairs on top of the roof, so we'll load it on the pallet in just a second. Then this will be mounted to the inside of our RV on the ceiling. And you'll see we've got our digital setup here. Inside this package, we've got our thermometer, or sorry, I say our thermostat, remote, all of that stuff. It's a pretty simple install and it looks really nice. It's gonna be a major upgrade. For us, we're gaining about 3,000 BTUs, but we're also getting heat. So that's something I'm really excited about. All right, there is our rig here underneath the pallet with a few ratchet straps on the Fogatti. Balanced it out as best as I could, and now we are going to use the hoist. Got my remote here, so we're gonna just take her up slowly. Yeah. And the idea is we will go higher than the RV, and then I will back the RV underneath. Nervous yet?
All right, just getting into general position here. The one thing you need to do once you're on the roof, and I thought this was best so we didn't mess up the seal on the way, is place our two gaskets. We've got one that goes up here, and then another that goes back here, like this. There is adhesive on the bottom of these, so I'm just gonna try to carefully do that. It looks like I need to take this tape off first and just tuck it inside. But this is what we're going for. Yeah, we'll just drop it down the hole. Somebody else will clean that up. Yeah, just trying to make sure we're straight. Yeah, feels good all the way around. Great. Dropping this inside. There are little grooves that I'm just trying to hit. Trying to be consistent across the grooves. A little more centered there. There we go. Now we're gonna have our spotter down there and make sure that we get this in the right spot. And our final step, the recommendation is we do lay down some sealant around here, so I am gonna lay down a little clear silicone meant for roofing and windows.
All right, so we are all set inside here. You can see just a little bit of squeeze out on the sealant that I placed underneath here. Now we are going to attach our vent right here to this center section with the flexible ducting that they've provided. And this is what the bracket looks like here. We put our flexible ducting up through the bracket. You'll see it's got a foil inside, and we have little adhesive tabs around the edge that we are going to adhere kind of like this around the edge, so they will all fold down, and then we can press this up into the unit. Our airflow will go through here. All right, not too bad. Now we're ready to suction this up in there with the 4 screws, 2 on each side. Okay, we're just gonna snub this up here with the first screw. Pre-drilled holes, so not that hard. There we go, now we're lined up. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is take this plate here and carefully, with our wires already kind of running here, feed the ducting right through this opening, which shouldn't be too hard. There's going to be lots of excess that we're going to trim off. Yeah, we want to make sure our wires are in the correct places, because once we attach this plate, it's going to be where it is. So now we're going to take our long connection bolts. This connects the bracket to the unit on the roof. And for now, I'm just going to snub these on there. There we go. Okay, you'll see I've gone ahead and mounted the bracket here with the 4 bolts, 1 on each corner, these right here. There you go. And I've pulled the duct down and placed the lower plate on it. Pretty simple. You just pull the ducting through the hole. You put this plate down over top of it, 4 screws, and then you trim with a knife or a pair of scissors all the way around. Now I'm going to put some aluminum tape around this, some duct tape, whatever I have, just to kind of seal it up right here on the edges, but it seems really tight. We've also pulled our wiring into the wire box here. So this is the power from the rig, and this is the power going to the upper unit. You've just got these screws here, 2 grounds, neutral and positive. So yeah, I'll get some of that going, then I'll check back with you once we get ourselves ready for the outer control box. All right, we are almost home free. We have our bracket mounted with the 4 screws. We have our electrical wired up, our venting done, taped around. We simply have this last little connector here. You need to connect this to the indoor unit, which is your receiver and I believe some computer parts in there. So we're just gonna connect this correctly. Would be easier if I had someone here holding this for me, but no big deal. One-handed, there we go, one-handed operation, connected. We will put that snugly up there. And now we just have 4 screws to attach to put this back on the bracket. All right, we are done with installation. Look just how good this inside unit looks. It's really modern, really stylish. I think it's more attractive than what we had up there before. It's more powerful and it's going to be quieter. I brought out my decibel meter and I brought out my heat gun. We are going to do some simple tests on this unit just to see how quiet it is and how cold it gets. But before we do that, I just want to point out that we also got this wireless remote and thermostat that came with it. I mounted it here on the wall, the side of the cabinet. I really like this because this allows us to keep track of this with a thermostat. Our other AC was manual. We just had to turn it on or off and had very basic settings. This we can set to a temperature and it's really precise. And we can move this around the RV. Say we are sleeping over in the bunks and we want to make sure that this is, you know, controlling the temperature for the comfort of the bunk. You can take this in there with you, but most of the time we will probably leave it mounted here on the wall. So let's go ahead and go through some of the units, do some testing, but I just want to point out how nice this looks. So real quick, you do also have manual controls right here. You can just touch it here. You won't be able to see this on screen, but this is your temperature readout. You can change your fan speed. You can make these outer little guys here swing with the swing button. Look at that. They just rotate on their own, up and down. That's pretty cool. I've never had a ductless unit that did that. You have your center, kind of your center vent here. You can close it really simply. Does make it quieter in here, but less direct air right in the middle. Open it up. Just a really sleek looking unit. Looks smart, looks modern. Looks like it belongs in a modern RV. So let's go ahead and test this thing out. Let's get out the heat gun and the decibel meter to see how quiet it is and what kind of cooling temperatures we're getting. Let's try to create the worst case scenario here. So I'm sitting on the couch right underneath the unit. I have the center vent wide open. The air conditioner is on. I've heard the compressor kick on. The fan is on auto and it's set all the way down at 65. So right now it's cranking out
on the highest fan setting. And I'm gonna shut up and let you hear just how quiet this is right here next to the unit, so we can tell if this is quieter than a normal unit. Here we go. Okay, so we are standing strong, right about 58 decibels underneath this unit. Full blast, vent open. Now I do want you to hear the difference if you close this vent. It does get quieter, just right there. It's gonna disperse the air more out the sides. If we take that down, yeah, not a ton. We're talking like 55 decibels instead of 58. But I'm gonna tell you, I've owned 8 different RVs, and normally when you have that center vent open and you're sitting here in the middle of the RV and that AC is pumping, you have a hard time having a conversation. Under 60 decibels is extremely quiet. Now let's take a look at the heat gun to see, or rather the cool gun, to see what kind of temperatures are coming out these vents, to see how cool we're getting, because this is 16,000 BTUs of power, should be pretty cool. Okay, we're still running the air conditioner at full blast, same setting. I'm just gonna pull the trigger here and see what kind of temperatures we're getting. Wow, coming out the vent, we're looking at like, yeah, a low of like 55 degrees, but right around 60 degrees, 58 degrees. Nice and cool. And it feels, I mean, it feels powerful. I wish there was something I could throw in front of this to see, but even though it's quiet, this is powerful, and you can feel it, I don't know, a good 5 or 6 feet away. I really like this because it mimics the feel and the efficiency of a ducted unit that has little vents in the ceiling, but it's all just right here in this simple all-in-one unit. And don't forget, this is not just an air conditioning unit, this is a heat pump. So you have fan, AC, and heat. So let's go ahead and test the heat as long as we can, because it's gonna get hot in here real quick. Heat mode, we are set to 82 degrees. So, all right, the heat just kicked on and it is warm here already. We've got our vents here swinging on the side. I should mention, these vents are also on the back side of the unit. We just haven't ventured back there to see them. If you'd like to see them, you can see it like that. I know I've got orb lights everywhere just to make sure you can see this, but wow, warm and quick. This is what heat pump heat feels like. Let's go ahead and get over here. Let's get a heat reading to see how warm we are getting. The thermostat is currently set to 82 degrees. All right, and our little guy here is blowing out, 90 degrees, 95 degrees. So yeah, anywhere from like 85 all the way up to 92 degrees. It's super warm and comfortable. I mean, this is just crazy because most RVs have really uneven heating systems. This is going to circulate it around, and like I said, really getting warm, throwing out nice warm, 95 degree warm air. And we're getting the same thing from here. I'm not sure if we can get a good reading because the size of these vents. Yeah, same thing. About 95, 98 was the max, but similar. So throwing out nice hot air in the same way that the air conditioner does, all coming from one central unit on the ceiling. And just for good measure, I have the decibel meter out here so you can see. It's pretty much exactly the same heat or AC. It's about 57, 58 decibels. Under 60 decibels is really what you need to know. This thing is running strong and it's heating up really quickly. I'm gonna turn it off and I will put my remote control back where I know it is for the next time I need it. So there you have it. You just watched me install my very first RV air conditioner / heater. And I want you to let me know in the comments down below if you're still watching. If you thought this was hard, is this something you think you could or would tackle on your own? Honestly, the only difficult part for me was getting the unit on the roof, getting the old unit off. It really wasn't complicated. A helping hand from somebody that's just happy to be there and hand you things or help you hold things when you need to would be really helpful. But as far as the Fogatti goes, I'm really impressed with this unit. You can see it's got a nice low profile. It's not adding any height to our RV, which is great. I have heat and AC in one unit. I have that wireless remote with thermostat. I don't have to run anything through the
walls of my RV, which can be difficult if you've ever tried to do that before. So I will leave a link to the Fogatti InstaCool Ultra. That's right, the InstaCool Ultra down below if you want to check it out for yourself. Maybe tackle this project on your own. Stop paying RV dealers thousands of dollars to do simple projects for you that you can do on your own. Hey, if you're all the way here at the end of the video, you might as well subscribe. We do new videos like this every single week about camping, RVing, and the outdoors. My name is Joel. This is the Traveler Toolkit, and I will see you in the next video.